This video was suggested by Mega VG Master. Decidueye, the final evolution of Rowlet and one of the starter Pokemon given to new trainers in the Alola region. First appearing in Pokemon Sun and Moon versions in 2016, it's one of the few Ghost and Grass types and the only Ghost Grass starter Pokemon. It has the unique ability to use its wing as a bow, using the string on its hood as the bowstring and firing its feathers as arrows. As it's seen brushing itself off, covering its face by tightening its hood, and even not liking it when trainers touch its hair as Dartrix, Decidueye comes off as a normally calm and collected Pokemon, but can get flustered or embarrassed easily. One of its Pokédex entries even state that when it's caught by surprise, it's seized by panic. Smash Bros has a water starter in Greninja and a fire starter in Charizard. So to fill the gap of not having a grass starter, why not take the most recent one, Decidueye?
Some say Professor Squeaky had died. Some say he was just f***ing lazy. Regardless, the stars have aligned and a new video is here.
Making a moveset for a Pokemon character can be pretty difficult, since most Pokemon only have a few animations to work off of. Luckily, Decidueye has many unique moves that lend themselves well to a Smash moveset and an obvious ability as an archer. Other than that, Decidueye's design will be used as inspiration for the moveset. For example, looking at its design, one of the most notable features of Decidueye is its sharp talons. We can also see that unlike most bird Pokemon, Decidueye actually has hands, a helpful feature when using a bow as your signature weapon. Additionally, Rowlet, Decidueye's first evolution, has the ability to toss out feathers, something we can use for Decidueye as well. For the record, I have seen some gameplay of Decidueye as it appears in Pokken Tournament DX, but I didn't take much inspiration from it in making this moveset. Since Decidueye is essentially an owl, it will be highly mobile in the air. In addition to having more than 2 jumps and having a high movement speed in the air, some of its aerial attacks will affect its momentum, similar to how Corrin's back aerial pushes him or her forward. For a forward aerial, Decidueye claps its wings together. For a back aerial, it spins around, spinning its wings with it for a 2-hit attack. Both of these attacks would work just like Corrin's back aerial, pushing Decidueye away from the direction it attacked in. For a down aerial, Decidueye will fire an arrow downwards, stopping its momentum and pushing it up very slightly. For an up aerial, Decidueye will pull its wings in and spin with its beak pointed upwards, sort of like the move Drill Peck. For a neutral aerial, Decidueye will extend its talons below it, hitting any opponents that come into contact with them. Next are Decidueye's special moves. For a neutral special, Decidueye's signature move, Spirit Shackle. Decidueye fires a ghostly arrow straight in front of it. Pressing the special button a second time while the arrow is deployed has it do a loop before diving straight down. When the arrow comes into contact with an opponent or the ground, it will explode as it does in the game. This explosion inflicts a slowing effect to opponents, as Spirit Shackle prevents opponents from fleeing or switching out in Pokemon battles. If the arrow manages to hit someone while it is moving down, the arrow will pin them to the ground like Corrin's side special. This effect will also apply to Decidueye's down aerial mentioned earlier, which also has a downward moving arrow. For a side special, Brave Bird. Brave Bird is a similar move to that of Flare Blitz, in that it does recoil damage to the user. Decidueye will only take recoil damage if it hits an opponent, and hitting an opponent will also allow Decidueye to pierce through them. If used in the air, Brave Bird will have Decidueye fly diagonally downwards. For a down special, Synthesis. Decidueye spreads its wings, perhaps even removing its hood, and absorbs sunlight to recover a small amount of health per second. For an up special, Confuse Ray. Since Decidueye will already have multiple jumps and so much aerial mobility, Decidueye will have an ability for its up special rather than a recovery. Decidueye fires out a small orb that inflicts confusion on opponents for a short period of time. If an opponent attempts to attack Decidueye while confused, the opponent will hit themselves instead. This references the confused status in Pokemon games, where if a Pokemon is confused, it has a chance to hurt itself instead of attacking. Onto basic attacks, Decidueye's Jab and Jab combo will have it toss out feathers as its pre-evolution Rowlet does. A 3-hit combo attack, Decidueye throws out 1 feather for the first 2 hits and finishes with 3. The feathers would be extremely short-range projectiles. For a forward tilt, Decidueye once again tosses out some feathers, raising its wing from the ground to straight above its head, covering the 90 degrees in front of its body. For a down tilt, Decidueye simply slides its talon forward. For an up tilt, Peck. Decidueye lunges upwards and forwards, lashing out with its beak, hopping like an owl. For grabs, Decidueye's eyes will glow as it uses the move Grass Knot to attempt to ensnare its foes. If the grab is successful, Decidueye will pummel using its talons, and most of its throws will have Decidueye kick the opponent away and shoot them with an arrow. On to smash attacks, its forward smash will be Leaf Blade. Decidueye spawns a blade in its hand and quickly slashes 3 times like Leaf Blade's animation in its original game, 2 diagonal slices and finishing with a horizontal one. For a down smash, Sucker Punch. Decidueye begins charging an attack on the ground, but upon unleashing this attack, teleports above its original position, coming down with a powerful blow. This attack spikes opponents. For an up smash, Curse. In Pokemon, Curse works differently for ghost types than it does for other types. As a ghost type, Decidueye inflicts itself with damage, but also begins to drain the opponent's life as well. In Smash, this attack would have a ghostly nail appear above its head, damaging itself but also inflicting a damage over time to any opponents it hits. This attack does more damage to opponents inflicted by Spirit Shackle's slowing effect. This is because, in Pokemon, Curse's effect can be cancelled by switching out, but Spirit Shackle prevents this. Finally is Decidueye's final smash, its signature Z move, Sinister Arrow Raid. Decidueye glows using Z power and flies off screen. It flies back onto the screen, swooping down and stunning any opponents it hits. Shortly after, a barrage of arrows rain down. Cover can be used to avoid the arrows, and the direction Decidueye started the final smash in determines the trajectory of the arrows. Before the video ends, I should probably also mention there would be some nice things to use for Decidueye's taunts and victory animations, considering its animations in Pokemon Refresh. It raises a wing when happy, or even closes up its hood when not. We can even take a look at some of the concept art that leaked and see a few more poses, including what Decidueye looks like under its hood. Decidueye, Incineroar, and Primarina have some of the most personality we've seen in starter Pokemon ever. So, what do you think of this moveset? Would you want Decidueye to be playable like this? Would you pick a different grass starter or perhaps a different Pokemon altogether? Make sure to leave your opinions in the comments below, like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time.